morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. It's a bit worrying, these illegal detention centers that we're getting to be hearing about. The latest was from Kwara yesterday. No doubt you would have been shocked. And even before then, there had been from Kaduna and also Adamawa in all these states, and then Katsina as well. There you go. Might as well tell them who my guests are. You heard the voices there. As yet uninvited, but most welcome. Evan Zufeli, who is a lawyer and public affairs analyst. Thank you very much, Mr. Zufeli, for coming on the program.
Good morning. Thank you.
And Mr. Okechukwu Nwaguma, Executive Director of Rule of Law and Accountability Advocacy Center. As always, thank you very much for coming on as well. As if it needed any kind of remembering, but some people just might have missed it. And so, before we even begin to talk about this thing, let's just show people what we're talking about. It's been on our news, no doubt, yesterday and even onto today. I think we have a video report of the Kwara find, shall we say.
They are 108 in number, comprising 103 males and 5 females. They were rescued Thursday afternoon by the police after a tip-off.
Some of them have been in that detention camp for over 5 years. Some of them are in chains and they have been in that condition for so long period of time. Some of them have diseases that are not treated, infectious diseases that are not treated but are allowed to be spreading in the camp. It is so sad that fellow humans can be kept in that kind of condition.
The victims were brought from different parts of the country. Their offense was either that they were wayward, stubborn, or taking hard drugs.
I used to smoke, to be honest, but all that, thankfully to God, I changed because myself, I know that kind of thing, I won't do it again. There's this day we try to escape, even till now, they hang us.
We're hanged, both of us.
Unfortunately for me, my leg, as big as I am, can't me, my leg, my leg is not balanced now.
The victims claimed that their parents paid between 100 and 200,000 naira to be rehabilitated at the center, but instead they were tortured and dehumanized.
They are just there, maltreating us, beating us mercilessly, unnecessary things. This is my body. This is part of the cane. Without not doing anything, they are just there, beating us mercilessly. Please, we want the government to help us. This should be the end.
I'm a taxified Uber driver. I have my car, okay, and I'm a graduate. I was picked, I dropped there. Then when I met this man with my mom, he brought out the calabash, placed it on my head. They bathed me with oil before going to the room, scraped my head. Then I was taken to this room where I saw boys of 4 years old being locked up for almost 5 years. I'm a Christian, I've never prayed. They didn't even call me for prayer for nothing. Just there, you'll be idle there.
The camp is operated by this 75-year-old blind man from Ila, Osun State. Their parents brought them voluntarily. I have been in this business since 1977. Some of my patients have mental health challenge, and many of them have been rehabilitated. These victims crave for freedom. The discovery of this illegal rehabilitation camp followed those discovered in Kaduna and Katsina states. Ibrahim Alige, TVC News, Iloni.
Okay, I don't know what to say, but a picture is worth 1,000 words, and generally that gives you, a structure of the story. It's no different from what has been happening, or very little different from what has been happening elsewhere. On the one hand, the proprietor is saying that it's a rehabilitation center, parents brought them, but then you heard directly from those who have been rescued, and I think that is the word, rescued by the police. Now, Evans, give me your first impressions, because two things are going on here. They are calling it a rehabilitation center. Yeah. They are saying their parents brought them voluntarily. but any kind of an organization, you don't even need to be an NGO, would know that this is very, very close, if it isn't actually slavery.
Yes. If you look at Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution, that talk about the fundamental rights of Nigerians, it's clearly captured the fact that nobody should be subjected to any dehumanizing condition or such kind of servitude that we have seen so far. And then if you also extend the discourse or expand the narrative, come to talk of it, rehabilitation centers are not, from our laws, are not private-owned businesses or enterprises. They are usually owned by states. Okay, and then
social services of the states.
Yes, whether it's a juvenile center or a rehabilitation center, is often owned by states, and then so that the activities there is monitored.
So you would be very surprised if it had been registered and it is known to the authorities. You know, yes. you would be surprised.
Of course, because I would be surprised. I would be surprised. But for what we're seeing here, what I have in here, the persons who have been rescued from there, none of them have said anything positive about their incarceration or their detention. Okay, so even when you say that parents took them there, that is just neither here nor there. No, because the parents could also be violating.
It is the proprietor who said that.
Yeah, the proprietor who said that. Now, if that is the case, if that is the case, I mean, the parents could also be violating the rights of their children. Okay. And then so that is
we're going to come on this, and of course, I imagine that our viewers would also, have their own take on this particular matter, and because of that, we'll be opening the phones very, very shortly. But to first of all come to you, Okechukwu, your thoughts, please, on this whole matter.
Well, in addition to what my colleague has said, what we see there is can be better described as torture centers, and I mean,
because he was talking about being hung.
Yes,
hung up. I think upside down.
By the leg, yes.
Yeah.
The leg, and I mean, this is just the latest. We have seen similar gory spectacles from other states, Kaduna, Kano, Zamfara, and so on and so forth. And for me, what I see, this brings back the ugly memories of the slave era. And everything that I've seen here amount to torture, inhuman and degrading treatment in violation. He has talked about the Constitution, but also the Anti-Torture Act of 2017, which prohibits incommunicado detention and all the inhuman treatments that we have seen, including sexual molestation,
all of these have been alleged, as a matter of fact, in other areas.
Yes, and everywhere I've seen a number of videos. In Kaduna, I saw the Commissioner of Police who described the place as a torture center, and that indeed these are illegal detention centers. And I think that just like he said, private individuals don't operate, rehabilitation centers.
Even as we're speaking, we probably can be getting the pictures of the situation which was in Kaduna. That doesn't have a report behind it, but pretty graphic pictures as well coming from that particular. Sorry, I think they're trying to say something, but can't get to me. Yeah. So, please continue.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying that I think it is important for the state to activate the laws of the land against those who are involved in this, in both the so-called proprietors and whoever may have.
Yeah, but you see, part of the challenge is that these things, when they, how they say hindsight is 20/20. Yes. These things, they've carried on for so long in plain sight.
You said now
they're talking about a tip-off. The police, upon receiving a tip-off, so this thing has been there. So this goes back to society again. They must have neighbors. They must have people that knew. Maybe until someone came along and just said, no, I don't. Maybe came from a different clime. Maybe everybody was busy minding their own business, so to speak. So,
yes, a lot of social ills go on in society for too long, sometimes because people are also ignorant of the fact that such kind of operation is illegal. sometimes people will just, yes.
People will think that these are my values, it is my land, my premises, it's my business, not knowing that you are infringing all sorts of laws.
Yes, and then neighbors also may be ignorant of the fact that it is an illegal operation, okay? And then those who also took people there or who admit people there also will also testify to that fact that possibly it is just a business. So these are issues that go on in society. That is why we need to sensitize people that where you have such kind of violation of human, because even the Violent Against Persons Prevention and Protection Act, you know, that also have made provisions, copious provisions, that nobody should be subjected under such kind of illegal condition and then placed in that kind of this. So we have sufficient laws against this, but we don't know how much of awareness, we don't know how much the public know about these laws that criminalize issues like this in society.
You know that we've heard, what we're hearing from these kind of camps, you know, illegal detention camps, torture centers, whatever. Those are things, words that have been used by the police. It begins to point to the question of where else is stuff like this going on that we don't know about? Because it's becoming like a rash. It happened first in one place, then publicity, and then someone must have seen that, oh, we have this kind of thing too. Now you begin to tip off police, that kind of a thing. That's the way these kind of things go right, you know, because police can't go around inspecting everywhere. But did you say 7 years? How this had been going on for 7 years and we didn't?
No, he said he started the business in the 70s.
In the 70s.
He started the center in the 70s.
He's been in it for a long time.
So it must have been seen as some sort of since they allege that parents brought their wards, their children.
That just like he said, that doesn't justify or excuse anything, you know, because I mean, at best, those parents could only be complicit in the commission of the crime of torture. And by the way, when you talk about rehabilitation center, there are certain capacities you need to see. You need to see professionals. It could be people who need mental rehabilitation, psychologists, medical doctors, you know,
psychiatrists.
Psychiatrists. You know. So when you look at even the environment, you know that this place does not fit the description of a rehabilitation.
It needs. One moment, please. Mazi Okorafor, good morning.
Good morning, Sayori. Good morning, Mr. Okechukwu and Mr. Vance. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
Honestly speaking, that para center is a dead camp rehabilitation center. A man doing such a business since 1977 with his staff. Now you ask yourself, what are the means of their income of getting food, water for such environment? Now, Nigerian security, the advice I will give Nigerian security, even Nigerians living, like one of the other Mr. Banks of who said it, that the people living in the environment, the community, should try as much as possible. Any building you see, you see foreign things and people, the way people moving and doing that, try and alert the police authority or any security agency for them. That's on your own. No, let them go there. And it is a high time for Nigerian government to see, even the local government, when you come to a place, any road that is lead to a particular place, you see a building that, let security men go there and comb that place and know what is happening. You may come in the daytime, it will be as if there's nothing happening there. But in the night, it will now be a business as usual. That's when the security men should do what? Track such a place in the evening or the night. They go that area and find out what is happening there. This is exactly what should be happening in such a place. Now, do we call it a local slave trade or community slave trade? Because under that condition, there's nobody that will leave that place to bring him back into the society to be normal. Because he or she will be very, very hardened. And what I mean by hardened, that just he has seen so many things that another hell or another that death and it's coming back to him. The way you mix up with people in the real life situation will be very, very hard. Only the prayer by the real man of God in this world that will help people from that place to come back to normalcy.
Indeed.
Honestly speaking, our security agencies and the men in any community place, any houses you see that the gates are locked, go there in the evening or in the dead night and find out what is happening there. Thank you very much. I have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okorafor, for calling in from Arochukwu. This reminds me of when we're talking security and the security professionals keep on saying that look, you can't underestimate the role of the public being part of it.
Sure.
You people, they sometimes berate us that we tend to think of security professionals and all of that. But almost like the first line of defense is the people in the environment, people
Public,
around.
yeah.
Say something, see
Information.
something, information. I don't know if it goes back, maybe it's a thing around the world, not just us, where people sort of want to mind their own business, and I don't want any wahala. Those people, they seem like some sort of an organization, because they won't put on, they'll put on a benign face. They won't put on a terrorist kind of a face that this is what we're doing here. So they probably are thinking that some might even attribute religious aspects to it, because I heard one of them saying that, I think it was one of their proprietors, I'm still thinking of a better word to use, one of those people in charge of the camp saying that, no, what they do here is that, all we just do here is that they recite the Quran. What Quran? What under what religion? No Muslim is going to allow that. That is Islamic. It's absolute. No religion comes into this. This is sure anti-human, if you want, activity. I have Diko from Kaduna. Did I get that right, Mr. Diko?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
Thank you for calling in.
here.
Yes.
Yes, I want to say something about this detention camps.
Please
for
go.
the government. If you blame those people who have these houses, you have to come and blame the government too.
Okay.
They have this type of houses before in the 70s. We know about them, but they were seriously suffering neglection from the government. If the government can come back and reorganize this thing, nobody will take his time to this type of places. But other people have taken this thing to be an operation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
If the government can take serious of it, there should never be any detention camp owned by any person in Nigeria.
Yes. Yes.
But the government should have this. If the government can look at it, you can't take your child to a place where you know that your child is going to suffer. If the government will have, there must be a medication, security, and other things. Then your child should be there and be rehabilitated, not be rehabilitated under somebody who don't know himself. Look at that person in Kwara, or where you have shown he's almost a blind man. But treating our people, our boys, is that the way they are going to be good people of Nigeria?
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Diko. I imagine by the time all the professionals get in on the act, there's a cult aspect to what we are seeing.
Yes.
I would guess, not being an expert or a professional myself, but it's only cult-like because, cults tend to want to approximate religions, but it's they're entirely on their...
They abuse it.
Yes, and they're entirely on their own path, their own pathway.
It does not represent the entire
It doesn't
religious
at all.
body,
It doesn't even reflect any part of whether it is Christianity or whether it is Islam that they are professing to base what they are doing on, what their cult is. It often is by some very strong personality. So when Mr. Diko from Kano said that, look, you should look for the landlords. Who is the landlord of that place? Did they build it themselves, or did the landlord rent it out? Look for the landlord. Did you know who you were? Whatever. I have someone else on the line. Good morning. Yakub. Mr. Yakub in Dokwemu. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling
good morning to your guest.
Yes.
We are living in a country that something unthinkable always happens. I don't know where we find ourselves in this kind of situation. The other time, we saw same thing happen in Kaduna. The question we need to ask ourselves is this: that very particular Kaduna poll, how far the case has been going? Nobody knows what happened to those people who hold the camp in Kaduna. Then again, another one happened in Lori now. So look at the whole man. Say that he has been in the business from the 1970 something. And then are you telling me some people in that area don't know that something like that is happening? If they know. But our security agencies have lost our trust. I'm trying to be corrected. They have lost our trust because it's taking where people know something bad is happening. But the person, they are afraid of his life. For notifying the security agencies that something like this is going on. And then don't be surprised. 1-2 days you come to be eating you bad that, okay, you are the one that goes tell the security man that something like this happens. Yes, you are good for it. So, basically, our security agents, especially police, they should be doing more in order for us to be trusted.
Yeah.
In order for us to be able to lead any secret that we have in our hands. So after saying this, the way to go about this is this. The gentleman, the old man there, I can see the old man is like he's a blind person. How is he going to be? Look at a lot of people that will come there. How is he managing them? How is he giving them food? No doctor, no psychiatric person there, no anybody. Look at now. If they release all these people to the environment now, they are going to infect a lot of people. Now, I'm using this opportunity to call on the governor of the Kwara State. They need to do more. They need to treat all these guys. Because if they just release them to the society, all of us are going to pay for it. Now, the justice system needs to be fast. If they want to take these people to court, they should be able to make it public. Let's know how far they go about it, and then it should be fast.
Yeah.
They should give the judgment about it and send them where they belong to.
Okay,
That's God bless you.
Thank you very much, Yakub. Mr. Yakub calling in there from Dokwem. We'll go on a break now. When we come back, we'll continue with this conversation and indeed taking feedback from you. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back, and we're looking at the, quite frankly, spectacle that we have before us of the dehumanizing conditions. And by the way, when you read, all of these are not Nigerians. There's
some foreigners.
Some from Mali, according to reports. Some, was it, where else? What's going on here? Where do they get these people from? Why are they detaining them there? Is it a cult? Did they try to indoctrinate them? Nobody there is saying anything like a brainwashed person that, no, I'm happy here. You know,
all of them are saying the negative.
All of them are saying the negative. We're not part of this.
There's a young lady also who claimed that she was sexually abused.
Yep.
In that particular, that's the one in Ilori, that she claimed that she lives with the owner of the center and all that, and that she has been abused by 5 men and all that.
Look at those chains, for goodness sake.
So we
leg
need to also
irons
look
and
at
that kind of a thing. Now, I don't know, these are the, is that the,
I think this is Kaduna also.
Yeah, okay. So that is indeed Kaduna. Look at what's going on in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, Mr. Yakub calling in from Dokwemu had said that, look, the ones that have happened, why aren't they keeping it in the public view so that we know what is going on? Because that would be a measure of how seriously we take, how much of an exception we take to this kind of a thing. Because I feel so sure that these ones that have been uncovered have been uncovered. There are others. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the law of probability. I just feel that they have
the police must prosecute the operators of those centers.
And Yakub was saying, let it be done publicly. Let the whole public partake of it, that
yes,
this society doesn't accept this kind of a thing, and we're listening to the proceedings.
And police should also help the society. The reason why people don't report sometimes is also the way the police go about issues. Yeah. When people report, sometimes they fall into trouble.
This is it.
Even with the police. So, I mean, if the police are able to conceal the identity of those who will report, yes.
That's another
so
aspect
that
to encourage
them.
Because, as I said, I suggested, I theorized that these people are very much like cults.
Yes.
And there's this other aspect of how secure are you if you go, people keep on telling us, see something, say something. Now, you go and say something and you end up in trouble. Let me not lose. I have Emmanuel in Otukpo, so he'll come after you come after this. Good morning, Mr. Emmanuel.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling
Good morning to the lawyers in the studio.
Sure.
Good morning.
I think just one of them, unless you're Kechuku.
Okay, good morning to your guest in the studio.
Thank you.
This issue of Kwara State is very strange. But we may be surprised that we are...
I'm not just Kwara, other ones too.
Yes, we have pockets of similar cases across the country. And I think it is difficult to believe that people don't know that this thing existed. Because it may have started like a joke. Harmlessly like a reformation center. Now it has grown into this monster. just like Adolf Hitler's concentration camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, there is another industry that is thriving across Nigeria that we are not mindful about. And before we know it, we may grow into a monster like this later. This mortuary business. The mortuary business is the way they are ferrying dead bodies across the country, day and night. And they beat security checkpoints. Nobody checks those vehicles conveying, the health buses conveying the dead bodies. They can use the opportunity to carry human parts in the name of dead body, and they will pass security checkpoints. They can carry arms and ammunition and cross checkpoints, broad daylight, and other criminal gadgets. That no wonder the country is not secure. We have insecurity everywhere. So we must check this security thing, this mortuary thing that they are carrying a siren and disturbing everybody around. Siren is supposed to be meant for emergency, not for all these trivial things.
Okay.
Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. It's something of a diversion, but it's an important one.
Relevant.
You know, it's sort of maybe a bit related to this, but it certainly does have its own security implications. So Emmanuel just went there, and it's something that we can relate to. You know, because you know, when people tend to, you know, be respectful, want to be respectful with the remains. And so when you're carrying that kind of cargo, you know, I mean, it's just, you see, we just learn every day that if you're criminally minded, there's no extent you won't go to.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
But you before we had to go to the court.
Yeah, the point I was going to stress was the fact that everywhere in the world, effective policing or security relies more on intelligence, you know, public trust. When the people, you know, trust their police enough to feel free to give them information, you know. So trust is important, and for me, I think that's what has helped. Now,
well, you think it has helped? Because you know there are pockets of our society that think that it's a danger to go and inform the police.
Yeah, I mean, I've had cases where people got into trouble for volunteering information to police. So
because police go around and say that, do you know that these people?
Yeah, so our law enforcement agencies need to, you know, take note of this, because for them to know this, for them to even do their work properly, they need public support and public information.
In fact, this one was as a result of help from the public.
Yes.
You know, the police say that they got a tip-off and then decided to investigate further. Mr. Sulaiman, thank you very much for holding on. Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Ayori.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Good morning, the gentlemen in the studio.
Good morning.
Thank you. The problem is that I noticed some of this issue as a kind of fallout of, you know, our systemic failure that we'll be facing for a very long time. On a very honest note, if these people running these centers are calling it a rehabilitation center, what kind of rehabilitation are they giving to those people we are seeing there?
Exactly.
Because me, I saw it as a kind of way of, you know, punishing people beyond what human being can even think of in the first place.
And outside of the law. Outside of the law.
Outside of the law. Look at the one we saw in Kaduna. Look at the humanization. Look at the way those people were. Look at no treatment. In fact, the people we saw there are as good as skeleton, you understand? And somebody is telling me that it's rehabilitating you. So I think the government should kind of take this thing very seriously, because the issue is that when you leave this kind of people to come to the larger society, because of what they face there, they will be more radical. They will be tormenting the society, because this is why we are having all the problems we are having. If it is a rehabilitation center, it's supposed to be a reforming center where people reform. When they come to the larger society, they will be normal human beings. But in a situation where you subject human beings to this kind of society situation, when they come to the society, what do you expect them to be?
Yeah.
They will not look at anybody as human being again because of what they've gone through, because of what they've been subjected to. So I think the major problem we are having in this country is that people will commit heinous crimes against their fellow human being and just go with it like that. Look at the so-called death penalty that they said on the kidnappers. You understand? In a state. Tell me which of the states that kidnapper have been executed that all of us see. In those days, in the 60s and some part of 70s and 80s, when the armed robbers and those that committed heinous crimes, they will be tied to the stake and be given firing squad, and it reduces crime seriously that time. So what we are having now is just window dressing. So our system encourages crime, and that is why we are having what we are having. Evans is still in the detention, eating our food. Wadume is there. Even the one that Supreme Court has affirmed its death sentence, they are there. You understand? I visited this Kuje prison in Abuja here. Because of these condemned prisoners, honestly speaking, I said we're in a very serious situation. Because by the time these people find their way into the society and they are not being executed, what do you think they will do? Because they consider themselves as condemned human beings and they can do anything. So the government should wake up to their responsibility and do the right thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sulaiman, for calling in. Evans, you're a lawyer, and even society knows that everybody, deserves to be prosecuted, at a court of law. Yeah. It's going to have its defense. Lawyers are going to go out there and protect their fundamental human rights. It's going to happen. But people can already. That is why when Yakub called in and said that whatever happens, because the police did say they will be prosecuted, they will be prosecuted. But we often don't hear much more of a story beyond a certain stage. The public doesn't usually get the satisfaction of seeing how everything was resolved.
Maybe the public don't follow up fully. Just yesterday, someone was convicted, 60 years imprisonment for allegedly defiling a child.
Two-year-old child.
The killers of Cynthia Okugu were all convicted to death by hanging. Okay? The Alu4, they were all convicted to death by hanging, the offenders. Of the law. So maybe the public don't follow very curiously. But when it gets to conviction, you will always know. And as regards those who have been convicted and not been executed, governors are not signing death warrants.
Yes.
Perhaps you need to call on the governors to sign the death warrant so that they can be executed.
I think it also has to do with the global movement, movement away from
capital punishment.
Death penalty. Because if you examine some of these cases, you also find that under examination, you could find that some people may have been wrongly.
Okay. Yes. Mr. Umar in Nasarawa, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
And other guests.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm a first-time caller.
We're delighted to have you. Thank you for calling in.
Yes. I want to contribute to this very important issue we are discussing.
Sure.
This issue, I don't know, I'm surprised. It has been happening all over the country for ages. Large number of these victims are found to have psychiatric problems. And their parents may be tired of, going from one hospital to the other. So the final destination is to carry them to these local traditional healers. If you go to most of villages where you hear of traditional healers, they have pockets of these people. So the problem is detected partly by the government, the inability of the government to properly equip hospitals to take care of psychiatric problems in the country. So if at all those people, the people who have been found with this problem are to be prosecuted, the parents should also be involved, because they have one form of problem or the other with their wards. That is why they carry them to those centers. So we should critically look at this issue, not the way we are looking at it now. They have been existing, from time immemorial.
Okay.
So it's not a recent, practice.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Umar. Thank you very much, Umar, for calling in and adding that perspective.
Yes, yes.
Because you see, the initial thing is when you see those pictures, you're shocked. How can this be happening? But then Umar reminds us that, guys, who doesn't know that we have these traditional facilities, traditional healers, and often with my mental, if that is the right word, I'm not sure what the medical professional would prefer. Is it a psychiatric case? Is it a mental case? Whatever. I think psychiatric. And they often take them to these local healers who bring their own local traditional knowledge to bear on how we're going to sort this problem out,
including torture.
Including torture, because they're not regulated. And the point Umar is making is that most of us would have heard of this, but maybe they don't always get the clegg lights, shone on them. But that these facilities exist everywhere, from Abeokuta to Adamawa to Ilorin to wherever, all over to Cross River. There are these traditional healers, and the conditions under which they if we want to refer to it as that, try to or purport to be treating their patients or charges, it's just inhuman, including those leg irons.
Yeah, if you look at the law establishing the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, there's a component of it that makes provision for rehabilitation.
Yes.
Now, you find that the NDLEA, beyond apprehending, drug offenders, also has a mandate under the law to rehabilitate, people, who are with drug-related challenges.
Yeah.
Now, there are psychiatric homes where some of these people who have psychiatric problems ought to be taken to, but it is the failure of the state to appropriately equip and fund these institutions that gives room for people to resort to traditional places where there is neither capacity, nor even the necessary...
So that might explain when they're saying that their parents brought them. It's not us. But Mr. Idowu is waiting to join the program. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Idowu in Kaduna. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Kuyori. You see, this issue of illegal detention in Kaduna is so rampant. I know of 3 boys, and there's the previous thing you show on your station as of last week. There are 3 people I know out of it that are trying to convert to Christians, and they capture them and take them over that place. Yes, some of them must have had challenges of mental issues, which I'm sure. But most of them, that's what I'm saying. It's just like what Mr. Yakubu said. There should be a proper look and let us know the end of this matter. Because some of them are not really insane. Some of them are really, they are about to convert to other religions. And they will not pick them up, and lock them up there. So it's unfair. It's unfair. It's unfair. Thank you, God bless you here.
Thank you very much for calling in. There's so many aspects. So that is why there needs to be a thorough investigation as to what exactly has been going on.
Yeah.
Is this the whole traditional healing home gone wrong that people are saying have existed for a long time, guys? It's just that the shockingness of this is what it is. Is it that, and for instance, something of a religious aspect added to it, that in some areas, you say you want to convert to a different religion. Now, if this facility is actually purporting to take care of psychiatric cases, then you can see what is going on, that if indeed that allegation is true, then those apprehending them must say that you definitely have psychiatric problems. If you are thinking of going from this religion to that religion, you have psychiatric problems, and that is your home, which is an abuse, complete abuse.
Yes, it's an abuse because everybody have a right to religious choice. So,
but
there are some religions that are intolerant. They don't want to welcome that kind of crossover to other religions. So they could interpret it to mean that the person has psychiatric problem and all that. And then you are taken to a place where possibly they said they want to rehabilitate. And in the process,
because he must
like
be mad.
The young man that said he was shaved, and the Uber driver that they put oil, he was bathed with oil and all that. So we don't actually understand what that one also means.
Is going to need
so there's a level of ritualistic tendency I'm also seeing within the concept of that rehabilitation. Because that young man's account could only point to voodoo and some ritual tendencies.
The well-spoken young man,
yes,
you know, who said that he was a driver.
Did you
One moment, please. Sorry, I have Mr. Joshua waiting in IREWOLEDE. Good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, good morning, sir.
Good morning for calling.
Good morning to the guests
with
you. I'm looking at the value of human life. I know we are talking to government, but as a nation, do we have a national value for human life? Do we have that orientation of placing the life of an average human being as a pedestal that we all would respect, we all will refer, value the life of a human being?
Yeah, I think we do. I think we do is why we are this shocked. I think we do, that we see this as an aberration and not a normal case about, you know, it's every day in the life of. No, it's not every day in the life of. We're genuinely shocked as you are.
Uncle Yori, I accept, but maybe we have people who have the platform. Our government needs to, like we talked about, national orientation. You know, can we place the value of human life above religion? You know, above our traditions. You know, the human being is above being a Christian. The human being is above being a Muslim. The human being is above even being a Nigerian. We are first humans before we find ourselves in all those divides. So the value of human life is beginning to be less than chicken in Nigeria. Please, let's wake up and embrace, celebrating human life and valuing people. We appreciate what you are doing in your own contribution, but let the government be alive. This is 7-year-old camp, and many of them like that. Dismantle all these people and let's have a breathing space.
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling in, Joshua. You know, it was Umar who started it, who said that, look, it's okay to be looking at it as a human facility, but if you think of it for a moment in the other way, we've had them. Different levels. Maybe there are other ones that, for some reason, I don't know why it went as bad as this in these particular instances, where you see a man that's looking like somebody from one of those Jewish detention camps, you know. What's
starvation couldn't have been rehabilitation.
It couldn't have been
it's deterioration.
So these people need rehabilitation, actually.
They have, clearly these guys, whoever are the guys directing these camps, they have their own warped sense of treatment, and unfortunately they probably will be looked up to as some sort of healer, some sort of traditionalist. All of that is not coming out, which is why we say, I think that they're going to have to investigate this thing with all sorts of experts and specialists to get to the root of what is going on. And if anybody brings religion into this, it has to be false religion. There is no religion that will sanction this. It has to be false religion, even if you want to call it religion. Did I hear KOLADE? Good morning, Mr. KOLADE.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for calling in.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to ask you 3 questions. In regard of this illegal detention, who are the fault? Is it a parent, or security, or the owner of the illegal detention scheme? Who is at fault? I don't know. Because to me, it's not much of security problem and the owner of the place. I rather blame parents. Because after you have, even your children have the problem, that's the right place to take to down all this type of place. Me, I blame parents. You cannot pray for your child to treat the way these people treat their child. Because when you go there at the first place, you see environment. You see that kind of environment and you put your child there. That means you are a wicked parent. To me, I blame parents, not even security as the owner of the child. Thank you.
Thank you very much. it all goes back to investigation, and investigation.
Yeah.
We need to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
We need to, because it's clear that it's illegal. You know, we don't need any expert to tell us
it's
that.
illegal. It's
illegal.
But is it based on tradition in some areas that is now antiquated, but some people are still holding on to, as often happens in other areas of our life?
The point is that private individuals are not licensed to maintain
at all
detention centers. So what those involved in this
or psychiatric centers,
or psychiatric center, or whatever rehabilitation centers. So the point is that these people have committed crimes that they must be punished for. The victims need to be rehabilitated, given proper rehabilitation. And those of them who have been sexually, molested must also be subjected to examination.
And also, while we're at it, because we've run out of time, I think one of you gentlemen referred to areas where traditional medicine and practices are regulated. Lagos is one of those kind of places.
Yes.
So the people now have to enforce, because there will always be traditional medicine, if you like, whatever. But it has to be regulated. It can't get to this stage.
Yes.
And
so
so
the state government must also give a proper account of how these things have gone unchecked. Because the state...
So no doubt there will be reforms.
Yes,
well, I
I
hope this exposure will lead to necessary reforms.
Definitely.
We've run out of time. We can talk about this for so long because it's a very human thing and everybody will have a take on it.
Yes.
And I want to thank you very much, Evans. Mr. Evans Ofeli is a lawyer and public affairs analyst. And Mr. Okechukwu Nwaguma, Executive Director, Rule of Law and Accountability Advocacy Center. It's quite a mouthful, but thank you very much for coming on as well.
A pleasure.
Okay, so that's our program then. Join us on Monday, which is the next day, because we don't do weekends, as you know by now. I'm Yori Folarin. Do have a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.